Hi, Year 5. I'm going to read Launch minus 48 for you. Hope you enjoy it. Countdown begins 48 hours before liftoff. For the last 48 hours, we had to stay in the crew quarters and not talk to anyone from outside. It was supposed to be a bonding experience. Also, all the food in the fridge and cupboards was replaced with space food. Little packs with straws sticking out of them. A bit like Capri Sun, but with meat and veg instead of orange juice. We were supposed to eat space food from now on so that we'd get used to it. The packs had some worrying names. For instance, Saliva Chicken and Pork That Makes You Eat Your Own Hand. Samson, too, said it was probably a problem with the translation. Maybe saliva chicken means mouth-watering chicken, he said. And perhaps pork that makes you eat your own hand is just finger-licking good. Maybe, said Florida, but I think I'll stick to ice cream. Me too, said everyone else. So we just sat there sucking on space ice cream. 2 flavours. Raspberry like a breeze on a lake, or banana divided. I wonder what they mean. And practicing the colour-coded button pressing on the computers. During the night there was a clanging sound, like the lid had fallen off the sky or something. Everyone ran into the living room. When I got there, they were all huddled together. I was going to get into the huddle too when Samson too said, "What is it?" And I realised they were all waiting for me to sort it out. Hassan said, "Is it bears?" "Bears? Why would there be bears? Wait here and I'll go and look." I opened the front door thinking, what if it is bears? I couldn't see any, or smell anything. I could hear a noise though, a slow, monotonous rumble, but I couldn't see anything except the possibility building. Then I realised the building had changed shape. I stood and watched for a while before understanding what was going on. They were moving the rocket. Very, very slowly, it was trundling out on its tracks, out in the desert about 3 miles away. It was moving along the rails to the launch site. You could barely see anything happening, but if you looked away and looked back, you could see a bit more of the rocket had shouldered out of the building. It was like watching the minute hand on a clock. The others all crowded around me and said, "Come on, let's get some sleep. It's just a rocket, nothing to be scared of." I was thinking, that is much more scary than bears. "I want my dad," said Samson too. I knew just how he felt. Next morning there was a pile of presents waiting for us on the dining table. Some rubbery pencil casey things called personal in-flight packs, and 5 of the latest Draxcom game consoles. They're called wrist stations. We'd had a visit from Space Santa. Wrist stations are quite cosmic, by the way. They're basically Game Boys that fit on your wrist, but instead of having some squinty little screen, they project the game onto the wall, like in the cinema, so you have it as big as you like. They all came loaded with Orbiter 4, Stone Age boneheads and surfing Eskimos. Except mine, which had professional golfer and a test your own cholesterol kit. There was a note from Dr. Drax explaining that we could pack whatever we wanted in the personal in-flight packs, PIPs for short, to take as personal luggage on the trip. We could take anything we liked as long as it fitted in the PIP. 2 minutes later there was a wrist station territorial dispute. Hassan and Max were playing Orbiter 4 together on one wall, and Samson too was playing another wall to play Stone Age boneheads. So there was nowhere for Florida to play. I started by suggesting that Florida and Samson too play bonehead together, using the 2-player option, but that suggestion led to an immediate off-screen violence. In the end, I told Samson too to stand nearer the wall to make the projection smaller. He said, "No." Everyone stared at me. This was a test of dadness. What was I supposed to do? Beg him? Threaten him? Shove him? If I couldn't control them here in the living room, what would it be like in orbit? I moved the couch into the centre of the room. I checked that it was lined up with the middle of the wall. Then, without even looking at him, I said, "Samson too, sit down here." And that's all I said. I didn't try to make it sound like I expected immediate obedience. Then I held my breath. Samson too didn't look away from the wall, and he didn't say anything, but he did move forward and around the couch. Then he sat down and carried on playing. His game had shrunk to half size now, and there was loads of room for Florida to play. I said, "Now move to that end, Samson, and Florida, you sit at this end," which they both did. Hassan and Max weren't even looking at me now. I'd passed the test. But what if Samson too had just carried on saying no? I decided there and then to pack Talk to Your Teen in my pip. It was really too big. I had to squeeze it in bit by bit. And as I was nudging the rubber sides over the book's spine, I noticed all the dad's things on it. The 2 overlapping tea stains like a figure 8, the phone number written in biro, the petrol receipts. It was my dad's book. My dad. I wish he'd turn up now, like he did when I got into that Porsche. I wish he'd turn up and shout, "Stop!"